Hello YouTube, welcome back to the channel. Hopefully you are doing well. We are here with my favorite video of the week, and I think it's some of your favorite videos of the week as well. Our trade targets, our trade talk this week ahead of round 10 of the AFL season. We are almost halfway through the season with the AFL fantasy game, and the trades are getting harder and harder and harder to nail because we are struggling to make cash. So hopefully today we can go through some big options for you guys ahead of this week so that you can target those wins and that rank rise. But if you have been enjoying the content, please make sure you smash a thumbs up and a subscription on the account, because we are very, very close to 700 subscribers. We are slowly edging our way towards 1,000 subs on the channel as well, which would be an amazing accomplishment for us to hit this year. So if you could support us in doing that, that'd be fantastic. I know a lot of people that are watching the videos that aren't subscribed, so if you could take the time to help with the subscription, I would appreciate that greatly. So let's get straight into it because I'm not feeling great still. So, the most traded in player by a significant margin is Cooper Simpson. I understand why Cooper Simpson is traded in so much. You can see he's currently in my side because I need the forward flexibility in order for my team to be able to make the moves that I want to make this week. He did look really, really good. It's hard because he played last Thursday night against Collingwood. The run isn't fantastic, but if he stays at halfback and Fremantle keep him there, I'm not going to play him on field as a forward regardless, but he's someone who you could loop with because Fremantle typically do play earlier. I think he's an option to be able to loop on field. So I'm happy enough to go after a Cooper Simpson 260k option. I think he's a good option to bring in, especially if you need a forward rookie or you want to do a bit of reshuffle through your utility like I am. So I don't mind that as an option. The number 2 most traded in is Sardell Hooley. This is who I would go for out of the two. I think with the Bulldogs-Richmond matchups, there's potential for him on a wing to score quite well. I think with all of their injuries, I think he might finally be clear of the vest. We've seen when he's played minutes, more than 30%, he has scored well. Melbourne, he came on early as the sub and did very well. And then Sydney, he got the full game and did very, very well. So, again, not expecting Sardell Hooley to be playing on your ground, but you could definitely loop with him. He plays Saturday night, which might be a bit hard to loop with. But I think if you're going between Simpson and Sardell Hooley, I'd go Sardell Hooley with the -1 break even, and he's a little bit more expensive than a Cooper Simpson. So you could go El Hooley this week and then Simpson next week if you're looking at your upgrades for the next couple of weeks. I already own Sardell Hooley from the West Coast game, so he's in my side already. Nick Martin, the first premium to be picked up this week. I love this pick. He goes, Bulldogs, Richmond, Lions, Carlton, Geelong, Freo into his round 16 bye as a forward or as a defender. I love the flexibility that a Nick Martin provides, and I think he's a fantastic option. Under $1 million as well, prime age, in form. There was a calf niggle worry going into that Collingwood game post those 2 120s, which looks like he's back at that 100% time on ground. So you'd say he's probably fit and firing. Love this pick completely. Matthias Philippou, I can see why people are buying into Philippou. It's very hard for me to buy into this without seeing any CBAs. I expect him to, at some point, be back as a midfielder for St Kilda, but I expect him to be fully firing come round 14. I don't think this is the time to go and buy a Philippou. I think there's other priorities there. I'm not saying he's not a good player, but I think I'd want to see it before I buy it. I think if you lock that trade in and he stays forward, then you're not gaining a whole lot over who you're taking out anyway. So I wouldn't be going there just yet, but at some point we'll want to own him. A Tom Green, I just love Tom Green anyway. Like, low score of 87 this year, 2 scores under 100. He's just ticking away nicely. He goes Fremantle, Carlton, Richmond, Port's a tough matchup, Brisbane, Gold Coast, and that round 16 bye. But I love this stretch here after the bye. West Coast, Geelong, Essendon, Sydney, Bulldogs, North, Gold Coast, St Kilda. He is a definite top 8 midfielder priced at 1.03. I think he's just a great get. He's just someone who has such a high floor. 24 years old. He's got Finn Callaghan, who's probably helping take some of the load away from him, and I just love him very much as an option this week. Nazaya, I talk about him every week. Same as Tom Green, 2 scores under 100. Lowest is 86. Just Mr. Consistent. Goes West Coast, Gold Coast, Melbourne into the bye. Love it. If you don't own Naz, go and get him. He's just a very, very good option. Has that round 13 bye, which it's only him and, a Geordie Clark or a Luke Ryan or a Jack Steele. So he should help your buy structure in the defence quite nicely. Josh Dunkley, similar to a Tom Green. A little bit more expensive than a Tom Green. Again, similar. 2 scores sub 100, but a 98 and a 97 there. He's just a fantastic midfielder. Has the same buy as a Tom Green. I prefer Tom Green slightly just because of the money save and probably the run as well. But, you're splitting hairs, I think, with a Dunkley. Bit more of a tackler than a Tom Green. Tom Green's a bit more of an accumulator, so they go about their scoring a little bit differently. I've got Josh Dunkley in draft, but, he's averaging 110. He's just an elite player. So if you want Dunkley or you want Green, I can't tell you which way to go. I can give you a personal opinion, but end of the day, you need to make that decision for your side. CJ, I don't like this pick much at all. They're playing up in Darwin this week. Then he gets Brisbane, Collingwood. I think there's Scrimshaw coming back in. There's forwards coming back in, which means Sicily might roll back. I just think there's too many moving parts. I like that he's 600K, but he's not going to be 100. We've seen so many times that CJ's not 100 ceiling type operator. I think he just feasted on 2 really good matchups there. Richmond and Melbourne are 2 matchups that we're targeting, and that would have been a good draft get if you had the foresight to have a crack at that, but I wouldn't be doing it. James Peatling, I've spoken about this a lot. I love this pick. 800K is steep, but I see him still. It's not about making money for me. This pick here is almost a placeholder until round 15 when the Crows have their bye, and then you can go and target any round 12, 13 or 14 buy player as your premium midfield or forward upgrade. That's what I like this pick for. I think there are some other priorities that sides have, but I do like James Peatling. Dane Zorko, again, had that little stretch in the middle where wasn't great. Goes into a couple good matchups here ahead of their bye. I still think I'd rather a Nazaya Wanganeen-Miller or a Nick Martin ahead of Zork because there's a lot of talk about the Brisbane defence. What's going to happen when Kitty Coleman's back? Tom Duday's coming back. I think his age, there's always that factor. He hasn't had an injury for a while, so I think maybe I'm cooling on Dane Zorko a little bit. Not saying that he's not a great player, but I don't think I'd be going there. Jack Sinclair at 934K and a break-even of 122. Now, he could easily hit this 122. I remember at round 3 when I brought in Nazaya, I was like, God, why didn't I go Sinclair? And now I'm like, thank God I went Nazaya because since then it's been the Nazaya show. I can see why people are buying into Jack Sinclair because he is a very good player, but he's just not getting it done. And I'd almost want to see it get done and then look at him from around 14. So not a huge fan of Sinclair, but I can see why people are going there. And then Matty Kennedy will be the last one that we talk about here. I just couldn't do this with the round 12 buy. You're only getting him for 2 weeks, then he has a week off. But I really like him from round 13. I think we've seen now with Treloar in the side, with Bont in the side, with Libba, with Richards, we've seen them with everybody back, and he's still getting it done. He's just a very, very good footballer. Bulldogs wouldn't have brought him in without a role in mind. I think they would have had the conversations of when everyone's fit and firing, this is what your role looks like. And I think we're going to see the best of Matt Kennedy. We know he can score when he's up around the ball. He's almost got that Dunkley role of a few years ago at the Bulldogs where he's that fourth mid that rolls up and plays at stoppage. He could be a really good get in round 13 if, upgrades go the way they want. He's obviously got the mid-forward eligibility, so you could move on and Adam Chera from that round 12 buy, but I think if you're holding Chera all that way, you're probably keeping him. But you could get her for around 13 guy. If you get Jack Steele, you could go Steele to Matty Kennedy. Or you've got options there that you could go to if you want. Or it's rookie shuffle time at that point, 2 down, 1 up, and you bring a Kennedy in, throw him forward, move things around. I really like him. And actually, I'm lying. The last one I'm going to talk about is Max Holmes. I really like Max Holmes. As a footballer, the performances probably haven't been there of late, but I think with Baz's rise in this Geelong midfield, Baz is going to start getting some attention. Port's not easy this week, but then Bulldogs, West Coast Suns, Essendon Lions, but then Richmond. He gets Richmond twice in that block of games there. He gets North, he gets St Kilda, gets Essendon, he gets Sydney, I think, at 900K, which is pretty much what he's priced at the start of the year. What's he down? He's down 70K as well. Far out. If I could have had Max Holmes over a Tom Stewart, he'd still be in my side. I think he's a great get. So I think if you're strapped for cash and you need an option in defence, he is a great option. The most traded out, Riley Bice. I understand this from a break-even perspective, but I think with Carlton, Melbourne, Adelaide, Richmond, he's not going to lose heaps of cash. And I'm happy to almost ride, even if he loses 50K. He's made 400K at that point. I'm happy enough to ride that cash loss with him in order to upgrade around him so that when I get to that buy, I can just move him to a Max Holmes. That's where my mind's going. Can I just wait a month and then move him? Because he's not going to get dropped. I can't see him getting dropped. He's got some nice games. I'm pretty sure they're playing SCG twice there, which isn't great, but he gets MCG twice against two really good matchups. I can see him going bananas against Melbourne and Richmond, amongst others. The other concern is Mills is almost back as well now. What does that mean for the role? But I think Bice is still good enough to be in that side. So he's one where I'm like, I can live with keeping him. Caleb Daniel is one who I'm like, I think time to go. If you're going to sell him at that buy anyway, you might as well get out now. I know Richmond's a good matchup, but we're just not seeing it with him. The 112 break-even is significantly higher than Bice's as well at 80. Even if, Daniel has a good game, it doesn't mean much. And then he gets Collingwood, then the buy. So I'm a bit like, well, if you can get who you want now, you might as well take that and not drop the 30, 40K he's going to drop this week by not playing well against Richmond. I feel like the risk is too high against Richmond. So Daniel can go. Lindsay, I understand why people don't want to sell Lindsay, but I understand why people do want to sell Lindsay because now the cash is starting to go backwards. He's really struggling. He is a heartbeat during the buys though, but he's probably someone I'm looking at getting rid of. Clayton Oliver must go as well. Jaden Shaw, I think this is just people panicking because the injury, but it sounds like the injury is not too bad. Sam Davidson really can go now as well. 3 sort of sub 63 scores in a row. And what's that? 5 out of his last 6 sub 70. I think he's done his job. Move him on. Early buy as well. Connor Stone. This is someone who I'm probably more willing to hold at the moment just because he's not playing at all. Gives good flexibility as a loop. And, with Fonte not performing well last week, he might actually come back into our side. So I think there's a world where he could go okay. Caden Cleary, Kako, Moraes, Reed, you can see it's all these people are trying to find cash. That's really all we're looking at when it comes to our trade outs. Is people trying to find cash for the upgrades. So I think out of all of these options, I'd be going Lindsay or Davidson as your way to make cash. Those type of options where they're starting to bleed cash is where I'd be going. Bice, Trainer, they're too much. They're locked in their best 23. So I can't see them getting the drop. Same with the Caden Cleary. I can't see him anytime soon really getting dropped. I know he dropped a 30. Just ones were dreadful against Essendon. I think they're going to bounce back a little bit against Carlton. So that's my view on the top trades. My current plans. I keep going back and forward a little bit. At this stage, I'm going Lindsay via some DPP down to Cooper Simpson. So Lindsay was in this M8 spot. But what it's allowed me to do is it's allowed me to move Caleb Daniel from my forward line into my midfield and upgrade him to a Tom Green. So right now, I'm kind of deciding between do I want Tom Green? Do I want Nick Martin? I'm kind of going after Tom Green because I know that he's a locked and loaded top 8 midfielder. And when I look at the midfield of Dacos, Dawson, Brayshaw, Rosie, Green, I'm very, very happy with that. It kind of locks Ashcroft and Garcia into my forward line, but I'm not too disappointed with that because eventually I'll probably go a Stone down and a Garcia up, and then at some other point, hopefully I can go a Boxall down and an Ashcroft up. That locks them away, and then all we're really doing is making money to get Trainer and Bice up, and then we're a happy man with a full side hopefully coming out of the buys. They are my early trade thoughts. I'm pretty set on the Lindsay to Simpson one, which all I then have to decide is where Daniel goes. I think other than that, I'm pretty happy with the rest of the side. But let me know in the comments what you guys would do with my side. That's my early trade thoughts ahead of round 10. As I said at the start of the video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in another video here on the channel going into round 10.